Come on, girls. Woo! Ah!
Support companies that help support the Stoney Ridge Farm. Subscribe to the channel and contact Farm Fence Solutions for all of your fence building and tornado wire needs.
Hey there, folks. This is Josh, Stoney Ridge Farmer. Welcome back to another moo-tastic day here on the Stoney Ridge Farm. The cows have come running down the hill here. It's time to move the cows, and we're gonna be moving the cows across a public roadway today. So I'm gonna show you what I do, how I handle this whole situation to keep somebody from running into it. It's around noon-ish, so the mail lady will probably come right in the middle of what we're doing here, but we've got about 30 cows, and we're gonna move them across a public roadway into this next section of pasture. We finally got rain. All of your prayers were answered. So we finally got rain. They've been grazing behind us for about 3 days, and they'll be over here for the next 2 months, guys. So come along, let's have some fun. We'll show you how I move the cows across the public road, and we'll talk a little bit about intensive grazing and what we're doing here.
Stoney Ridge Farm, Stoney Ridge, Stoney Ridge Farm. Woo!
So guys, intensive grazing and mob grazing your cattle is just one of the many ways that we're going to be restoring the land here on the Stoney Ridge Farm. This is a first generation farm established in 2017 if you want to pick up a shirt. This pasture right here was forest. It was old, overgrown forest, about 30 years old, and the trees were toppling all over each other. So we ended up cutting the forest, stumping it, and making pasture, fencing this all in. This is right in front of my house right here. This is a public roadway, and we're gonna be taking the cows across the public roadway and right into here. And what we're gonna be using is called poly braid, and we're also gonna be using these step-in posts. These are strain right step-in posts. Big shout out to my friends. Right there is the pigtail strain right step-in post. They just step in the ground. You have to do this after a rainstorm because the ground here on the Stoney Ridge Farm is so hard. There's no topsoil whatsoever. So we're building topsoil, we're building soil here on the farm. Big shout out to my friends at Farm Fence Solutions. All the materials we'll be using today all came from Farm Fence Solutions. I'll post a link down in the video description there for you guys. So what we'll do is we'll run poly braid, which is just basically braided electric fence wire, and these cows are trained to stay off of that braided electric fence wire. We'll run that between this gate right here and that gate right there. It's about 60 yards, something like that. So we'll run that, we'll get the cows over in this pasture. We'll show you the pasture that they're on right now, and we'll show you the pasture that we're moving them to, and it's recovering very, very nicely. We had a very dry year this year, and man, it's been almost drought conditions, near drought conditions. We had 3 days of rain, and the grass is exploding. Just look how green it is up there. So this is a low stress cattle move, guys. If you're considering buying cattle, or if you have cows of your own, this is a low stress move. We don't use dogs. We don't go yip, yip, hollering and screaming and stuff. I just call the cows gently, like woo, and you'll hear, that's my cow song. We'll tie off to this gate right here, and we'll run our step-ins. I just keep the step-in post in the ground right here until it's time to mow, and then I'll pop them out, mow, and stick them back in because I need to be able to move the cows, whether it's dry or whether it's wet. Down here on the creek, it's not such a big deal, but up top, it's really, really hard soil. If you guys will remember, in the wintertime, we rolled out hay bales on this land right here. There was no grass on this hillside right here last year at this time. No grass whatsoever. Rolling the hay bales out for your cattle and letting them eat and also leave some forage on the ground. You roll out a big old seed bank and you can see the results. Awesome, awesome grass. Simple enough. I'm not running power to this at all. I'm just gonna tie this off to the gate right here. So this is a strain right geared reel, again with poly braid from Farm Fence Solutions. We'll hook this right over top of our wire, and this is a cold connection. In other words, we can hook this onto the wire. This wire can be energized, but there's an insulation point between these two. We're not putting power to this, so we don't really need to. The cows are only gonna be in this little corridor for somewhere in the neighborhood of 45 seconds maybe. They're gonna move pretty fast. So we'll hook this guy up. Here's how this geared reel works. There's a little tab right here that you flip up. If you flip that down, it locks it in place so your string is pulled tight. And if you flip it up and lock it in place, you can unreel your poly wire. The way this wire goes into our pigtail, it's out of the pigtail now, it's into the pigtail. It's just that simple. Much, much easier than using those cheap garbage plastic posts. Don't buy those posts. Buy the good ones. These will last. These are a lifetime post right here versus those plastic ones that dry rot and fall apart. Buy the good ones. They work. Baby girls. Come on, girls. Oftentimes I've got to do this at a bit of a trot. Come on, babies. Woo. Guys, it can be a bit unnerving to move a group of cows like this across a public roadway or through your yard or wherever it is because they're not fenced in. So do this with help your first few times. Wasn't that fun? It's always an adventure. So now I've got the road blocked and I need to go ahead. It only took, what, 45 seconds, like I said, to get the girls across the road here. I'll leave this in place and all I'll do is just come over here. This was never explained to me when I first started running my cattle. So all I'll do is just take this loop right off this post, I hope, if I didn't tie the knot. And I just tied a couple granny knots on here. So we'll take that loop across the post and we'll get the road unblocked. It is legal to drive cattle up the highway. However, it's probably not advised on a major highway. So this is a public gravel road right here that I share with my neighbor and the postal carrier and the millions of Amazon packages that we get. So we'll take this reel and we'll just walk it on across the road. You know, you got to be respectful of your neighbors. You got to make sure that the cows don't leave a bunch of manure out in the road. So typically I'll let the cows sit at the gate for a bit before I move them. And they'll all poop and they'll all pee right there at the gate. You can see it's kind of a dark spot right there. They're all bunched up pooping and peeing so that we save the road from being blasted with manure. But sometimes that doesn't work. Got a couple plops right there. Let's talk about the grass. Let's talk about what we've got going here. I graze my cattle a little less intensively than others that you might see on YouTube. So these cows are on a paddock that's about 5 acres right here. These cows will graze this 5 acres for around 5 to 6 days. So about a day per acre with 30 head of cattle. That will get it down to about 3 to 5 inches. That will get my forage down about that high. And it'll also get them eating weeds. And that's what we want. So we want them to gobble up as many of the undesirable plants as we possibly can get them to gobble up. Now our watering system down here is pretty unique. It's a gravity fed system that runs right off the pond. I'll show you, we'll turn it on. And I have solved the problem. I had a problem with it losing siphon But I've solved that problem by doing something really simple. This is my poly wire for this section of pasture. Just gonna hook it on. And my watering system, again, is siphoned from the pond. All I do is turn that valve on, and I get good, fresh, cool water from the pond, okay? Now you will see this pipe is along the top edge of the fencing. This is the most shaded area of fencing on the farm right here, guys. So it doesn't really get that hot. It might warm it 2 degrees, something like that. So that water is typically running out of that at about 55 to 60 degrees. Pretty cool. The problem I was having with the siphon system right here was that it would get air bubbles in it, and those air bubbles would travel to the highest point, either up the line or down the line. Now the highest point is right there, and the water's coming out of the highest point, so all the air bubbles go out with it. Really cool. Problem solved. Stay tuned to a future video when we build the entire watering system for the entire farm right here. We're gonna drill a well, and we're gonna put in mirror fount frost-free water tanks. We're here in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina, so we have not that cold of temperatures, I guess. It might get down to 0, maybe 2 days out of the year, but typically we hover around 24 for the low. So we won't have to worry about any pipes freezing, and as long as that water's running, we'll never have to worry about this pipe freezing. So this will last us as a cheap solution to keep our animals watered for year-round, basically. They were on this pasture back behind the house, and you can tell a huge difference in the color of the pasture. And what that is are the blades of grass that are coming out in these pastures that have been rested well. So the pasture that we're moving the cows to, which is this great big field over here, is well rested. In other words, it's had about a month of recovery time, and that recovery time has allowed those blades of grass to grow out big and thick. Now, we're not on a single species pasture, we're on a multi-species pasture. So this pasture has both fescue grass, it has wild grasses, it has some weeds in it, it has some wild oats in it, it has all sorts of various different legumes and grasses. And the reason we do that is because we don't want our cows on a single monocrop. You know, you guys might like lasagna, but if you were eating lasagna every day for 365 days a year, you'd probably get sick. So that's the thought process in having a multi-species pasture. So weeds aren't bad. Weeds are only weeds if you don't want them in your pastures. Now that we got the cows moved over there, what's the next step for the pasture that they were just on? Well, the next step is give it about 3 days of dry weather. I'll go in with the pasture drag, and I'll drag all these manure patties out, and then I'll come back a little bit later and I'll mow. And you can see there are some undesirables in here. So that's an undesirable grass. I call it water grass. The cows just don't like it. In the wintertime, they'll eat it. In the summertime, they will not touch it because all this sweet succulent grass is here.
Hey, Susie. What you doing, Susie? Hey, Susie. Go out, what a tongue. What are you doing to that big long tongue, Susie? Huh? Let's see that tongue. Oh, Lord, what a tongue. There you go, girl. There you go. You like that.
Guys, this is what you call mob drinking. The cows will all kind of come down to the water tank and mob drink if they're not less than 800 feet from the water tank. So what you want to do is keep your water tank located less than 800 feet from the center of the herd, and they won't mob drink. Mob drinking can cause high traffic in your water tank areas and also disturb the soil. So that soil is a little bit hard to repair and also can get compacted and or just make a huge mess. The nature of cows, guys. One cow's eating, the other cow's got to go right up its butt and be like, yo man, there's something better over there? What's up? What's up? Where's that at? It's like the guy at the fish pond that always sees you catch a fish and runs over to your place. Well guys, that's what's going on with the cows today. As you can see, they're licking the Kubota right now. We got to go ahead and put some energy to this fence right here so that they don't get over into that other pasture. Again, we're on about 5 acres right here. They'll stay on this for 4 to 5 days, something like that. Then we'll move them over onto about a 15-acre pasture over here. So plenty of grass, as you can see in the drone footage, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me here on the Stoney Ridge Farm. We've got hay coming hopefully next week. I've got almost 200, maybe over 200 bales of hay that are coming to the farm. And all these bare spots that you see a few right in here, all those bare spots will have hay rolled out on them, and they'll cure the land just like this right here, guys. Look at how green and lush that is. None of this had grass on it last year. Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. Please pound the like button. I hope to see you again here on the Stoney Ridge Farm. Jump in, subscribe to the channel. All right? Woo!
Well, come on down to the Stoney Ridge. Bring your wife and bring your kids. We're living life pure and sweet. That's the way it's supposed to be, Stoney Ridge.
I can buy the same dang thing on the Walmart shelf half price. All I do is drone, no matter what. We almost lost the drone. Come on, girls. Woo! Ah! Whoa, that thing shocked the shit out of me. Ow! Good Lord, had a heart attack. If you got that on camera, holy cow, man. That like restarted my heart. Hopefully I'm not in AFib or something. Oh my God, I got the crap shocked out of me.